history of modern India. 840. 1 Personalities associated with specific movements. Swadeshi movement. Lokmanya Tilak spread the message of Swadeshi to Pune and Bombay and organized Ganpati and Shivaji festivals to arouse patriotic feelings. He stressed that the aim of Swadeshi, boycott, and national education was the attainment of Swaraj. He opened cooperative stores and headed the Swadeshi Vastu Pracharini Sabha. Lala Lajpat Rai took the movement to Punjab and parts of northern India. He was assisted in his venture by Ajit Singh. His articles, which were published in Kayastha Samachar, endorsed technical education and industrial self-sufficiency. Syed Haider Raza popularized the Swadeshi movement in Delhi. Chidambaram Pillai, who joined politics following the partition of Bengal, spread the Swadeshi movement to Madras and organized the strike of the Tuticorin coral mill to protest against the working conditions in the mills. He founded the Swadeshi Steam Navigation Company in Tuticorin on the east coast of the Madras province to break the trade monopoly of the British India Steam Navigation Company. He bought the SS Lavo and SS Galia from France and started regular services between Tuticorin and Colombo, Sri Lanka, though the British tried their best to suppress his efforts. His ships flew flags emblazoned with Vande Mataram. In 1908, he was sentenced to 2 life terms for sedition for his political activities. He was not seen as a political prisoner but was reportedly put to hard labor and even tortured. Though his sentence was reduced by the Madras High Court and he was released in 1912, he faced hardship as his lawyer's license had been revoked and he could not practice. He opened a shop for a livelihood. An erudite scholar. Appendices. Appendices 841. He wrote his autobiography in Tamil verse. He also wrote a commentary on the Thirukural and compiled the ancient works of Tamil grammar, Tolkappiyam. Bipin Chandrapal of the extremist clan played a major role in popularizing the movement, especially in the urban areas. He was the editor of New India. Liaquat Hussain of Patna suggested boycott and organized the East Indian Railway strike in 1906. He also wrote fiery articles in Urdu to rouse nationalist sentiments in Muslims. He was supported by other Muslim Swadeshi agitators like Janavi, Rasul, Din Muhammad, Dedar Baks, Moniruzzaman, Ismail Hussain, Siraji, Abdul Hussain, and Abdul Ghaffar. Shyam Sundar Chakrabarti, a Swadeshi political leader, helped in organizing strikes. He was one of the Pabna group of Bengali revolutionaries. He was a nationalist journalist who was the sub-editor of the revolutionary journal Sandhya, later joining the Bengali nationalist newspaper Band Mataram as an assistant to its editor Aurobindo Ghosh, afterwards becoming its editor. He was deported to Burma in 1908 for his political activities. Much later, he became a supporter of the non-violent methods of the Indian National Congress. Ramendra Sundar Trivedi called for observance of Arandan, keeping the hearth unlit, as a mark of mourning and protest on the day the partition was put into effect. Rabindranath Tagore composed several songs to inspire freedom struggle and revived Bengali folk music to rouse national pride. He also set up some Swadeshi stores and called for the observance of Raksha Bandhan, tying of threads on each other's wrists as a sign of brotherhood. Aurobindo Ghosh was in favor of extending the movement to the rest of India. He was appointed as the principal of Bengal National College founded in 1906 to encourage patriotic thinking and an education system related to Indian conditions and culture. He was also the editor of Band Mataram and through his editorials encouraged strikes, national education, etc., in the spirit of the Swadeshi movement. He was assisted by Jatindranath Banerjee and Barindra Kumar Ghosh, who managed the Anushilan Samiti. 842 A brief history of modern India. Sakaram Ganesh Deuskar hailed from Maharashtra but was domiciled in Bengal. He was a close associate of Aurobindo Ghosh and a good writer in Bengali. He is probably best known for his book, Deshak Katha, that described the British exploitation of India. In this book, Deuskar considered the state of the country and the good and evil of British rule, the mental degradation of the people of this country who had been hypnotized and their minds conquered by the British, or the West, the ruin of the peasants and the artisans of Bengal, and the decline of indigenous industries. Deuskar was influenced by the writings of Nauroji and Dutt on the economic conditions of India under British rule, and wrote in the vernacular to spread the idea among the masses. The book proved immensely popular and served as an inspiration to the Swadeshi movement. The government banned the book in 1910 and confiscated all the available copies, but, by then, it had been read by innumerable people. Deuskar is reputed to have introduced the Shivaji festival in Bengal. The earliest modern political use of the word, Swaraj, is considered to have been by Deuskar in his pamphlet on Shivaji, 1902. Sarla Devi Ghoshal, Joy Rani, daughter of Janakinath Ghoshal, one of the founding members of the Indian National Congress, was Rabindranath Tagore's niece. A bright student, she pursued higher education at Bethune College under Calcutta University to become the first woman to achieve the highest marks in that university and receive the Padmavati Swarna Padak, the gold medal. She worked for a while as assistant superintendent at the Maharani Girls' School in Mysore before returning to Calcutta where she edited the Bengali magazine, Bharti Patrika. She wrote a book, Ahitagnika, to generate awareness concerning the freedom struggle among school children and also launched an underground revolutionary group as she believed aggression and violence to be the only way to get freedom from the British. She is considered to have contributed to the music of Band Mataram, the national song, and written several other songs used by revolutionaries. She was among the first to promote the use of Swadeshi products and opened a shop called Lucky Bhandar in the Beau Bazaar neighborhood of Calcutta that sold only Swadeshi products. Sarla Devi founded the Bharat Stree. Appendices 843. Matmandal, the All India Women's Organisation, a pioneering venture, it was a semi-revolutionary group in Allahabad, Lahore, Amritsar, Delhi, Karachi, Hyderabad, Kanpur, and Calcutta. Married to Rambaj Datta Chaudhary, a noted freedom fighter from Punjab, she moved to Lahore with her husband. She continued with her revolutionary work in Punjab besides opening several associations and organizations for women, one of which was a home for widows. She was associated with the newspaper Hindustan as editor and publisher. Towards the end of her life, she was involved in writing her biography, Jibonat Aur Apata, The Scattered Leaves of My Life. Surendranath Banerjee, who held moderate nationalist opinion, launched powerful press campaigns through newspapers like the Bengali and addressed mass meetings. He was assisted by Krishna Kumar Mitra and Narendra Kumar Sen. Ashwini Kumar Dutt, a school teacher, set up Swadesh Bandhab Samiti to propagate the Swadeshi movement and led the Muslim peasants of Barisal in their protests. Pramatha Mitra, Barindra Kumar Ghosh, Jatindranath Banerjee founded the Anushilan Samiti in Calcutta. G.K. Gokhale, president of the Banaras session of the Indian National Congress, 1905, supported the Swadeshi movement. Abdul Halim Ghaznavi, a zamindar and a lawyer, set up Swadeshi Industries and helped Aurobindo Ghosh to extend revolutionary activities outside Bengal. He was assisted by Abul Kalam Azad. Dadabhai Naoroji at the 1906 Congress session declared that the goal of the Congress was to attain Swaraj. Acharya P.C. Roy, in order to promote Swadeshi, set up the Bengal Chemicals Factory. Mukunda Das, Rajnikanta Sen, Dwajendra Lal Roy, Girindra Mohini Dasi, Syed Abu Muhammad composed patriotic songs on Swadeshi themes. Girish Chandra Ghosh, Chirore Prasad Vidyavinod, and Amrit Lal Bose were playwrights who contributed to the Swadeshi spirit through their creative efforts. Ashwini Kumar Banerjee, a Swadeshi activist, led the jute mill workers to form an Indian Mill Hands Union at Bajbaj in August 1906. 844 A brief history of modern India. Satish Chandra Mukherjee through his Dawn Society promoted an education system under indigenous control. Motilal Ghosh of the Amrit Bazar Patrika group contributed several fiery articles in the paper to arouse patriotic sentiments and was in favor of extremism. Brahmabandhu Upadhyay through his Sandhya and Yuganta, brought out by a group associated with Barindra Kumar Ghosh, popularized Swaraj and the Swadeshi movement. Jogendra Chandra set up an association in March 1904 to raise funds to facilitate students to go abroad for technical and industrial training. Manindra Nandi, a zamindar from Kasim Bazar, patronized several indigenous industries. Kalisankar Sukul brought out several pamphlets on Swadeshi movement and argued that a new kind of business class should be built to promote national interests. Sundar Lal, a student from UP, was drawn towards terrorism. Kumbharji Mehta and Kalyanji Mehta began organizational work through the Patida Yuvat Mandal. Lala Harkishan Lal promoted Swadeshi movement in Punjab through the Brahmolining group which began the Tribune newspaper. He also founded the Punjab National Bank. Muhammad Shafi and Fazil-I Hussain were leaders of a Muslim group in Punjab involved in constructive Swadeshi, rather than boycott. V. Krishnaswamy Iyer headed the Mylapore group in the Madras Presidency. G. Subramania Iyer, T. Prakasam, and M. Krishna Rao were other leaders in the south but were opposed to V.K. Iyer. Prakasam and Krishna Rao started Kistna Patrika in Masulipattanam in 1904. Subramania Bhatti, a member of Tamilian revolutionary group and an eminent poet, played a significant role in arousing nationalism in the Tamil areas. Prabhat Kusum Roy Chaudhary, Athanasius Apabakumar Ghosh were lawyers who helped in organizing labor. Premtosh Bose was another pioneer labor leader. Appendices 845. Hemchandra Kanungo was one of the first revolutionary leaders, and after his return from Paris, he had gone there to get military training. A combined bomb factory and religious school was set up in Calcutta. Khudiram Bose and Prafulla Chaki, two revolutionaries, murdered Kennedy on 30 April 1908. Pulin Das organized the Deccan Anushilan, with the Barra dacoity as its first major venture. Madan Mohan Malviya and Motilal Nehru were in favor of cooperation with provincial governments and non-political Swadeshi movement. Sachindranath Sanyal emerged as a revolutionary leader in Banaras through contacts with Mokhocharan Samadhyay, the editor of Sandhya after the death of Brahmabandhu. The Savarkar brothers founded the Mitra Mela in 1899 and were directly involved in extremism in Maharashtra. Dinshaw Wachab persuaded mill owners in Maharashtra to sell dhoti at moderate prices. Non-cooperation movement M. K. Gandhi issued a manifesto in March 1920, announcing his doctrine of non-violent non-cooperation movement. He was the main force behind the movement and urged the people to adopt Swadeshi principles and habits including hand spinning, weaving and work for removal of untouchability. He addressed lakhs of people during his nationwide tour in 1921. He suspended the movement after an outburst of violence at Chaure Chaura in UP in February 1922. C.R. Das moved the main resolution on non-cooperation in the annual session of the Congress in Nagpur in 1920 and played a major role in promoting the movement. A successful lawyer, he boycotted the law courts and gave up a lucrative practice. His three subordinates and supporters, Birendranath Samsal in Midnapur, J.M. Sengupta in Chittagong and Subhash Bose in Calcutta played a major role in uniting the Hindus and Muslims. Jawaharlal Nehru carried on the non-cooperation propaganda and encouraged the formation of Kisan Sabhas to take up the cause of the peasants exploited by government policies. He was against Gandhi's decision to withdraw the movement. 846 A brief history of modern India. J.M. Sengupta, a Bengali nationalist leader, supported the labourers on tea plantations in Assam in their protests and strike. Basanti Devi, wife of C.R. Das, was one of the first women volunteers to court arrest in 1921. Birendranath Sasmal organized the anti-union board agitation in the Kontai and Tamluk subdivisions of Midnapur. In November-December 1921, Samsal initiated a no-tax movement among the Mahishya substantial tenantry of Midnapur. Jitendralal Banerjee organized the peasants in 1921-22 to resist settlement operations in Bogra, Pabna, and Birbhum. Subhas Chandra Bose supported the movement and resigned from the civil service. He was appointed the principal of the National College in Calcutta. Ali brothers, Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali, who were the foremost Khilafat leaders, vehemently supported Gandhi in his nationwide tour to spread the movement. At the All India Khilafat Conference, Muhammad Ali declared that it was religiously unlawful for the Muslims to continue in the British Army. The Ali brothers were arrested later. Motilal Nehru renounced his legal practice in response to the non-cooperation call by Gandhi. He was arrested in 1921. Other notable lawyers who gave up their practice included M.R. Jalkar, Safuddin Kichlu, Vallabhbhai Patel, C. Rajgopalachari, T. Prakasam, and Asaf Ali. Their sacrifice inspired many others, who boycotted government jobs and entered the mainstream of freedom struggle. Lala Lajpat Rai was initially not in favor of the policy of non-cooperation. He was against the boycott of schools, but later he supported the movement. In fact, he protested against its withdrawal in 1922. Rajendra Prasad actively supported the Gandhian movement in Bihar. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel spread the movement in Gujarat and regarded non-cooperation as a feasible alternative to revolutionary terrorism to fight against a colonial government. Motilal Tejwat organized the bills, and the bill movement strengthened the non-cooperation activities. Alluri Sitaram Raju led the T11 BILS in Andhra and combined their demands with those of the non-cooperation movement. Appendices 847. Hasrat Mohani, a Khilafat leader, condemned the arrest of the Ali brothers and demanded complete independence. Purushottam Das Thakur Das, Jamna Das Dwarkalas, Kovosji Jahangir, Froze Setna, and Setalwad, all of whom belonged to the industrialist section, launched an anti-non-cooperation association in 1920. Kunj Ahmed Haji, Kaldingal Mamad, Ali Musalia, Siti Koyathangal, and Imbichi Koyathangal acted as presidents of the Khilafat republics set up at a number of places. K. Madhavan Nair, U. Gopala Menon, Yaqub Hassan, and P. Moiddin Koya were the Khilafat leaders and supporters of the non-cooperation movement. They were arrested in February 1921. Muhammad Usman, another Khilafat agitator, organized volunteer groups and trade unions in Calcutta. Swami Vishwanand, supported by Ranjis Agrawala, a Marwadi mine owner, and Swami Dasananand organized the coal miners of the Raniganj Chiria belt for the non-cooperation movement. Kishan Singh and Mota Singh called for no revenue movements and headed the Babar Akli group, which emerged as a dissident of Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee in 1921 in Jalandhar and Hoshiarpur. Jaramdas Dolekram was a close associate of Gandhi and promoted the non-cooperation movement. Swami Govindananda, a supporter of Gandhi, was jailed for 5 years on charges of sedition in May 1921. He later became a critic of the Congress. S. A. Dange, R. S. Nimkar, V. D. Sate, R. V. Nadkarni, S. V. Deshpande, and K. N. Joglekar were members of a radical student group and promoted the movement although they were not in line with Gandhi's views. They were influenced by R. B. Lotwala, a millionaire with a socialist leaning. Dange, in April 1921, wrote Gandhi vs. Lenin and was in favor of Swaraj, which would nationalize factories and distribute zamindari land among farmers. Thiruvika supported the labor uprising and strike at the Buckingham and Carnatic textile mills from July to October 1921. Singavelu Chettiar was a lawyer and labor organizer in Madras and played a significant role in merging the labor and 848 A brief history of modern India. Freedom movements. He was the first communist in South India and was in favor of using non-violent non-cooperation against capitalistic autocracy. Konda Venkatapaya, A. Kaleswara Rao, T. Prakasam, and Pattabhi Sitaramaya led the non-cooperation movement in the Andhra Delta region. Dugirala Gopal Krishnaiah inspired the inhabitants of the small town of Chirala Parala in Guntur district to resist the government's plan to make the town a municipality and the hike in local taxes. Nabin Chandra Badoloi, freedom fighter and political leader from Assam, favored non-cooperation but was against strikes in plantations, as he himself was a planter. After the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, he gave up his law practice and joined the freedom movement. He was popularly known as Karmavir. Assam Kesri, Ambikagiri Roy Chaudhury's poetry had a profound impact on the Assamese and helped in arousing nationalist spirit in them. Muzaffar Ahmad formed the pioneer communist group in Calcutta. He was influenced by M. N. Roy and Nalini Gupta. Someshwar Prasad Chaudhury, a student in Calcutta, organized the peasants protesting against indigo cultivation on the Rajshaski Nadia and Pabna Murshidabad border. Purushottam Das Tandon, Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi, Govind Ballabh Pant, and Lal Bahadur Shastri began their political careers in 1920-21, with the onset of the non-cooperation movement. Premchand, a well-known novelist, resigned his post in a Gorakhpur government school in February 1921 and started contributing to the journal Aaj. His novels Premansharam, Rangbhumi etc. reflect Gandhian principles and values and endorse non-cooperation as an effective weapon to gain freedom. Baba Ramchandra organized peasants' revolt in South and Southeast Awadh and helped merge the peasants' revolt with the non-cooperation movement. He was arrested in February 1921. Aisha Naim Atta announced himself King of Salon and initiated no taxes movement. M. N. Roy, a communist leader, was the editor of the communist journal Vanguard. He condemned the sessions courts. Appendices 849. sentenced to death to 172 of the 225 accused in the Chaure Chaura incident. Later, 19 were hanged and the rest transported, as against 22 policemen killed. Bhagwan Ahir, an army pensioner in Gorakhpur village, was beaten up by the British police. The incident flared up nationalist sentiments in the village, which then led to the killing of 22 policemen in Chaure Chaura by the peasants. Civil Disobedience Movement. M.K. Gandhi formally launched the Civil Disobedience Movement on 6 April 1930 by picking a handful of salt after the completion of the historic Dandi March from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, thus breaking the salt law imposed by the government. He was the major force behind the movement and inspired grassroots participation in the freedom struggle. C. Rajgopalachari led a salt march from Trichinopalli to Vedaranyam on the Tanjore coast in Tamil Nadu, in support of the Civil Disobedience Movement. He was arrested on April 30, 1930. K. Kelappan, a Nayar Congress leader, launched the Vakom Satyagraha and marched from Calicut to Payanir in defiance of salt laws. Jawaharlal Nehru was actively involved in the movement and was arrested on 17 April 1930 for defiance of the salt law. He formulated a radical agrarian program and suggested formation of the Constituent Assembly as the prime political slogan. P. Krishna Pillai defended the national flag and resisted Lathi charge on the Calicut beach on 11 November 1930. He later founded the Kerala Communist Movement. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan formed a clan of non-violent revolutionaries, the Kudai Khidmatkars, known as Red Shirts, who played an active role in the movement. Sarojini Naidu, the first Indian woman to become the president of the Congress, was involved in a march towards the Dharsana Salt Works, a government salt depot. Other leaders who participated in this total non-violent affair were Imam Sahib, Gandhi's comrade of the South African struggle, and Manilal, Gandhi's son. 850 A brief history of modern India. Surya Sen's Chittagong revolt group carried out a raid on 2 armories and declared the establishment of a provisional government. He issued a manifesto in the name of Indian Republican Army and called on the Indians to revolt against the British rule. Abbas Tayyabji, a leader of the nationalist Muslims in Bombay, took the place of Gandhi in the movement after the latter's arrest. However, he too was arrested by the government. Ambalal Sarabhai and Kasturbai Lakai gave their cooperation to Motilal Nehru in removing the barriers between the Congress and the Bombay mill owners and industrialists. Industrialists such as G.D. Birla, who donated between 1 lakh rupees and 5 lakh rupees, Jamnalal Bajaj, who served as the AICC treasurer for several years and represented Gandhian leadership in Bombay, Homi Modi, Walchand Hirchand, Lalji Naranji, Purushottam Das Thakur Das, Lala Shri Ram, etc., supported the movement in its first phase. Homi Modi, in his presidential speech to Bombay Mill Owners Association in March 1931 said that though the Swadeshi movement had helped the Indian industry, frequent strikes had dislocated trade and industry. Naranji and Thakur Das, who had remained indifferent to the nationalist struggle in 1921, demanded Indian control over finance, currency, fiscal policy, and railways. However, from September 1930, there was a sharp decline in support from the industrialists and traders, with the prominent businessmen having differences of opinion with the Congress. Chandraprabha Saikiani instigated the aboriginal Kachari villagers in Assam to break forest laws. Subhas Bose and J.M. Sengupta led the faction group in Bengal Congress and set up rival organizations to conduct civil disobedience. Bose criticized Gandhi when the latter suspended the movement in May 1933. He was supported by Vittalbhai Patel. Bongam Maji and Somra Maji led the movement in Hajaribagh along the Sanskriti Singh lines with the Congress. Kalka Prasad, a local leader in Rai Bareli, promoted the Norent campaign. Santi and Suniti Chaudhary assassinated the district magistrate of Tipura, Stevens. Their action marked the entry of women in the revolutionary movement. Appendices 851. Seth Achal Singh, a nationalist landlord, financed the Gram Seva Sangh in Agra and remained indifferent to riots in the area, while strictly following the policy of non-violence. Sheikh Abdullah, a Muslim graduate, started an agitation and attacked the Srinagar jail on 31 July 1931 where 21 persons were killed in police firing. He also developed close contacts with a group of anti-autocratic Jammu Hindus led by P.N. Bazaz. Muhammad Yasin Khan, a Muslim leader in Punjab, organized the Mayos, semi-tribal peasant community with leanings towards Islam, to protest against Maharaja Jasingh Savai's hike in revenue, bigar, and reservation of forests for the purpose of hunting. K.M. Ashraf, who became India's first Marxist historian, was associated with the movement. Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, who was an upholder of Gandhian policies since 1920s, began to drift away with the launch of Harijan campaign by Gandhi. He started a breakaway Congress Nationalist Party. Satyamurthy, Gulabhai Desai, M.A. Ansari, and B.C. Roy demanded a return to electoral politics by way of a revived Swaraj Party. Jayaprakash Narayan, Achyut Patwardhan, Yusuf Mehrali, Ashok Mehta, and Minu Masani wanted the Congress to have affinity with left-wing. Sampurnanand formulated a tentative socialist program for India, and a Congress Socialist Party was started in 1934, which was supported by Narendra Dev. K.F. Nariman and Yusuf Meher Ali led the Congress youth wing and later emerged as socialist leaders. Swami Govindanand led the movement in Karachi and Sindh. N.V. Gadgil with his socialist leanings lent support to a temple entry movement in 1929 and established friendly ties with the non-Brahman Satyashodhak Samaj, represented by Keshwarao Jagre of Pune. B.R. Ambedkar, who was the leader of the untouchable Mahars, attended the Round Table Conference in 1930. However, the Congress failed to win over the political agitation of the Mahars. 852 A brief history of modern India. Gopbandhu Chaudhary popularized the movement in Orissa and led the salt satyagraha in the coastal areas of Balasore, Cuttack, and Puri districts. Tarunaram Phukan and N.C. Bardoloi, two prominent Congress leaders, were against the movement in Assam. They refused to take up forest satyagraha officially. Jadunandan Sharma activated the Kisan Sabha movement in Gaya district of Bihar. Dugirala Balramakrishnaya of the Krishna district initiated a no-revenue campaign in 1931 in coastal Andhra. He also wrote a Telugu ballad Gandhi Geeta which aroused patriotic sentiments. N.V. Rama Naidu and N.C. Ranga organized a forest satyagraha in Venkatagiri estate in Nellore in 1931. A.K. Gopalan, a school teacher, was a popular activist at Guruvayur in Kerala and later became Kerala's most popular communist peasant leader. Mannu Gond and Chechu Koiku offered forest satyagraha in Betul in central provinces. Moilana Bhasne organized a large Praja Sammelan at Sirajgunj and demanded abolition of zamindari and reduction in debts. B.T. Ranadeve and S.V. Deshpande in Bombay and Abdul Halim, Somnath Lahiri, and Ranain Sen in Calcutta were the young communist militants who organized several labour strikes. V.B. Karnik, Maniben Kara, Rajani Mukherjee, and Nihrendu Datta were other leaders who started trade union activities. M.N. Roy and his followers popularized socialist ideas in the villages and a no-tax campaign was started in Awadh. Quit India movement. M.K. Gandhi planned an all-out campaign to compel British withdrawal from India, after the failure of the Cripps mission to reach a compromise. At the historic August meeting at Govlia Tank in Bombay, Gandhi proclaimed his mantra, "Do or die." He was arrested on 9 August 1942. He undertook a 21-day fast in February 1943 to protest against the government actions against Indians involved in the movement. Jayaprakash Narayan was a member of the Congress Socialist Group and played a prominent role in the movement. Appendices 853. Ram Manohar Lohia, Aruna Asaf Ali, Sucheta Kripalni, Chotubai Purani, Biju Patnaik, R.P. Goenka, and Achyut Patwardhan were leaders associated with the underground movement and revolutionary activities in support of Quit India movement. Chittu Pandey, who called himself a Gandhian, formed a parallel government and captured all the 10 police stations in Balia, in East UP in August 1942. Usha Mehta actively supported the movement and was an important member of a small group which ran the Congress radio. Jawaharlal Nehru initially supported the arch moderates, who were opposed to Gandhi's plan, but later, he moved the Quit India resolution on 8 August 1942. Sumti Morarji helped Achyut Patwardhan in his underground activities. She later became India's leading woman industrialist. Rash Bihari Bose, a revolutionary activist, was elected the president of the Indian Independence League, formed in March 1942. In June 1942, he was living in Japan since 1915 as a fugitive. He mobilized Indian soldiers taken as prisoners of war by the Japanese forces, after the British was defeated in Southeast Asia, for an armed rebellion against the British colonial rule. Captain Mohan Singh, an Indian soldier fighting on behalf of the British, was taken as prisoner of war by the Japanese. He was persuaded by a Japanese army officer to work with the Japanese for India's freedom. He was appointed the commander of the Indian National Army. Subhas Chandra Bose joined the Indian National Army in 1943. One of his most famous declarations was, "Tum mujhe khoon do, main tum azadi dunga, you give me blood, I will give you freedom." The INA played a significant role in the independence struggle under the leadership of Subhas Bose. C. Rajgopalachari and Bhulabhai Desai were the arch moderates, who were in favor of recognizing the rights of Muslim-majority provinces to secede through plebiscites after independence had been gained. They resigned from the AICC in July 1942. K.G. Mashruwala brought out two militant issues of Harijan. After the arrest of Mahadev Desai, to arouse the sentiments of people. 854 A brief history of modern India. K.T. Bhashyam, a Congress leader in Bangalore, played an active role in the trade union field and organized strikes by about 30,000 workers. Satish Samanta, a local Congress leader and the first Sabadhinayak of the Tamluk Jatiya Sarkar, helped in establishing a rebel, national government, in Tamluk subdivision of Midnapur. Matangini Hazra, a 73-year-old peasant widow in Tamluk, was killed in violence on 29 September 1942, when the Suthata police station was captured. Matangini kept the national flag aloft even after being shot. Lakshman Nayak, an illiterate villager, led a large tribal population from Koraput to protest against the Jaipur Zamindari and attack police stations. Lakshman Nayak was hanged on November 16, 1942 for allegedly murdering a forest guard. Nana Patil headed a rebellion in Satara. Appendices 855. Two Governors General and Viceroys of India,